Here's another one. This is called a firefly. I remember I was around 9 years of age when with my family, I traveled to a place called Subramanya in Karnataka. A fabulous place which I have visited many more times later, with finding much more meaning in this place. This is a place where Lord Subramanya or Kartikeya or Armuga as he is known here in Tamil Nadu, or Muruga. For the last time he washed his bloody sword and walked up the mountain. This is a place where he meditated and bathed in the river and walked up the mountain to shed his body. When I was there, we were staying in a small place and it was not as it is today, it was a very remote place, a little difficult to get there in those days. In the night, around 8 o'clock, the power went off and I looked out of the window, a huge tree full of fireflies. The whole tree was lit up with fireflies. I had never seen anything like that. The scene of this big tree with fireflies is so deeply etched in my mind. It keeps coming back to me many times. And when we first moved into the ashram here, around 20 years ago, and those times, evenings usually we didn't have light because the power would go off. Then when we were here, we started noticing fireflies and suddenly these magical beings flying all over. So, writing something about fireflies became very natural. Earlier, probably my poetry found a big spurt when I decided to move into a remote place. My farm was very remote from the city and I lived there alone for days and sometimes weeks on end without any contact with outside human beings. At this time, I started writing poetry about pebbles, grasshoppers, blades of grass, just about anything, and I found each one of them was substantial subject to write about. Unfortunately, none of those things are with us today. So here's a little poem on fireflies. In the moonless night, the firefly emboldens itself to flight. In the moonless night, the firefly emboldens itself to flight. The brooding darkness mocks the spirited flight of the fly delight. The brooding darkness mocks the spirited flight of fly delight. The limitless darkness could swallow this minuscule attempt of light. The limitless darkness could swallow this minuscule attempt of light. The skeptic's cantankerous laughter swept the inner spaces within me to ask. The skeptic's cantankerous laughter swept the inner spaces within me to ask, can a firefly light the world? Can a firefly light the world? Yes, firefly am I. If life's summers have warmed you, if your inner spaces have charmed you, I could set you afire and the world too. If life's summers have warmed you, if your inner spaces have charmed you, I could set you afire and the world too.